is NBC Palm Springs. Breaking news.
Good morning and thank you for joining us for NBC Palm's Midday. I'm Joe Smith. I'm glad you're here. We do begin with breaking news at this midday. This is out of Palm Springs. We have a live picture where a suspect is barricaded inside a home. Police are urging people to avoid the area of the 300 block of Santa Elena. We'll, of course, keep you updated throughout this newscast. Governor Newsom will be holding a press conference this morning on the wildfires across the north. As we wait for that, we will bring you our top story. The other top story, of course, is those wildfires. Tens of thousands have been evacuated in Northern California as fire crews race to try and gain control of those fires. Jennifer Bjorklund is in Vacaville, California, just north of San Francisco, with the very latest.
Fire crews are taking advantage of cooler, more favorable weather conditions over the next 2 days or so to try to get lines around these fires so that they'll burn themselves out. But the problem they keep running into is that they have to take themselves away from that task to rescue people who haven't evacuated. For months now in the state of California, people have been told to stay home, that it's not safe to go out and mingle with other people. And evacuation centers are scarier places than usual, and they're filling up quickly. So some people are evacuating in cars, but more often than we've seen before, people are ignoring evacuation orders and staying home and risking it. Right now, 4 civilian deaths are blamed on these fires, and fires all across the state have burned 490,000 acres and stretched fire crews to the limit. We heard a unit chief say this morning this fire is historic. They're learning and watching, gaining information every minute. This is something they have never seen in their careers. I'm Jennifer Bjorklund in Vacaville, California, NBC News.
And we are waiting for that update from the governor. We will, of course, bring that to you as soon as he arrives. Most of these fires were ignited by lightning. CAL FIRE says more than 500,000 acres have burned. That's almost 80% of the size of Rhode Island. And now much of Northern California is blanketed in choking haze. 4 Northern California locations have the worst air quality in the United States. This according to an air quality monitoring service. And they're being compared to places in the world with bad air quality like Eastern China and India. Keeping up with these fires is, of course, labor intensive. It takes a coordinated effort to make quick and correct decisions. Our Kitty Alvarado shows us the informational hub, a control center for firefighting units just outside of Sacramento.
California is under siege. Hundreds of thousands of acres are on fire across the state.
11,000 lightning strikes in a 4-day span that resulted in over 370 fires across the state. There's about 25 of those that are large that we're dealing with right now, over 10,000 firefighters on the front lines.
The California Office of Emergency Services, or Cal OES, is coordinating the state's mutual aid system, made up of fire department crews from across the state to fight the fires. All this during a pandemic.
We are certainly taxed to the very limits right now. It's been challenging, and it's been unlike anything that we've ever seen.
Captain Fernando Herrera says CAL FIRE Riverside County Fire Department is part of that mutual aid system.
No department is big enough to handle a siege that just continues.
They've sent out over 200 personnel with dozens of fire rigs and equipment and may send out even more.
It's very exhausting for our firefighters, physically challenging. They're on for several days. They could be on for 14 up to 21 days before they can get a chance to rest.
But the crews at local fire stations aren't faring much better. When the governor declares a state of emergency, it means all hands on deck.
Through the executive order the governor put out, days off were canceled. Folks remain on duty. That gives us the ability to staff reserve engines and any type of other equipment that we need to keep functioning day to day.
Many of the inmate fire crews the state relies on are sick with COVID-19, putting more stress on a system stretched thin.
We're down to half of what we used to have. So technically right now we're probably less than 80 crews statewide.
To fill their void, the state is hiring hundreds of seasonal firefighters, training National Guard members as firefighters, and calling on other states for resources.
We are doing everything possible around the clock to try and meet this moment.
Kitty Alvarado, NBC Palm Springs.
And we are going to join that live press conference right now. Here is a CAL FIRE official.
Until the end of the fire update. I would now like to invite our operations chief, Chief Waters, up for an operational update.
All right, good morning, everybody. Chris Waters, Operations Section Chief for the LNU Lightning Complex. I'm going to give you an orientation of the operational activities on the incident today. First of all, a little orientation. We're a two-zone fire. We got a west zone and we got an east zone, and we have the Sonoma County line as the general demarcation between these two zones. Starting out with the west zone, we have one small fire, the Myers Fire, out on the coast. Actually, the fire has stopped moving. Operational resources are getting a foothold on that, and we're looking for containment fairly soon. The next fire in this zone is the Walbridge Fire. The Walbridge Fire is moving in the direction of Guerneville. Right now we have engines, dozers, hand crews, and law enforcement working in the Walbridge Fire right now to try and slow the spread of the fire down in the direction of Guerneville, and we're also organizing evacuations and warnings for the community of Guerneville. Moving over to the east zone, the Hennessy Fire. Hennessy Fire has basically three what we call branches. The southern branch of the fire activity has dropped off significantly from basically the Solano County, Yolo County line down around the south end through Solano County, and then up to division, what's called, or the branch break on the west side of the fire. This area along the south end of the fire is in patrol mode, which means most of the active fire spread has been contained. As we move north, the fire is still active from Lake Hennessy all the way around to the north of the fire, down Highway 16, and then down to the Yoshadihi tribal community. We have dozers, engines, hand crews, and other resources continuing to work aggressively along the fire's edge up into Pope Valley, and to try to prevent that fire from moving into Pope Valley, into those structures and those communities. We're also focusing attention on moving more ground resources into the northern side of the Hennessy Fire that is in the direction of Middletown, and then moving through Cache Creek drainage down Highway 16 and try to contain the fire to Highway 16. Firing operations are continuing down the east side of the fire, north, where the Cache Creek comes down to Highway 16, down to the Yoshadihi tribal community. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. I'd now like to bring up our law enforcement partners for a quick update. Napa County Sheriff John Robertson, as well as Sonoma County Sheriff Mark Essex. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Mark Essex. I'm the Sheriff of Sonoma County. With me today is Sheriff John Robertson from Napa County. I'm also here on behalf of the sheriffs from Lake County, Solano County, and Yolo County, and our CHP partners in the area. I'm here to give you a brief update on evacuations. We continue to work with our partners side by side, and that is CAL FIRE and other public safety agencies here working this incident. We are issuing evacuation orders and notices as appropriate through our partnership with CAL FIRE. Our job is to get the public out of harm's way. We want you to leave when you've been ordered to evacuate. Evacuation zones are dangerous. They contain many hazards for the public, and that's why we're asking you to leave those areas. Additionally, evacuation zones have active firefighting efforts going on, and you remaining in those areas could hamper firefighting efforts. So please, if you've been evacuated, stay out of that area. You will hear the high-low sirens as one of the ways that we notify you of evacuations. In addition to alerts that you may see on your phone or media alerts that you may receive, when deputies or peace officers are in your actual neighborhood trying to evacuate people, you will hear the high-low siren, and when you hear that siren, high-low means it's time to go. Peace officers in this area are currently being supplemented through our partners in law enforcement throughout the Bay Area and the region. We have asked for and received mutual aid. We have ample number of peace officers in the area to conduct the evacuations, to direct people to safety, and to patrol those evacuated areas to maintain safety and ensure that there is no theft or looting in those areas. We encourage you to continue to follow all of our agencies on social media, look for news updates, and please heed the warnings as they come out. We understand this is a stressful and scary time for many people. Your law enforcement partners are here for you to answer questions and direct you to safety. If you see a peace officer in your neighborhood, please do not hesitate to contact them, ask them for direction. They are there to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Now I'd like to get an update from our Unit Chief, Unit Chief Jones.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Since August 15th, as it was reported, we've burned 771,000 acres. That's greater than the state of Rhode Island. This incident alone is over 229,000 acres reported this morning. First responders have been stretched thin everywhere throughout the state, but they continue to work hard and they're getting little rest. We're trying to switch that by incoming resources are trickling in, and that's going to help this. The briefing today gave you some progress and some growth, but there's also, we're not out of the woods. There's still some areas threatened, some communities threatened, some people's homes are threatened. Our partners spoke of evacs and plans to be prepared. Please be prepared to leave your home when asked to do so. You shouldn't wait to be told. You should have a plan right now. Pay attention to alert and warning systems that you have in your county, in your area. Readyforwildfire.org is another place where you can get that information of how to be prepared. Please pay attention to your surroundings. Be alert, know your area, know how to get out. I know our communities and our first responders that are fighting these fires are tired, but they're doing it. They are doing it to protect their home, your families, their families, our communities. I appreciate all the work of the cooperators. It's not just the folks on the front line, the first responders, those folks coming in from out of state, out of the area. It's everyone that's supporting the folks out in the field. Logistically, to take care of those folks, to feed them, to make sure that they're getting the right information, a proper briefing so that we all are on the same communication channel. It takes a lot of work. And all of those people you should be thankful for. They're doing it for you. So please do your part, help us, help you, listen to the evacuations, get ready to go when you need to. I hope for good news, but it's going to take a long time. We are not out of the woods, not by far. I want to thank you for your patience, because as the smoke clears, you're going to want to get back in your homes. The size of this fire is huge, and for those of you that have lived in Sonoma, Lake, Napa, Yolo, Colusa, and Solano counties, you know that this area is very impacted by fire on a yearly basis. So please, be patient with us. We're trying to do the best we can. We want you back in your home. Thank you very much. Please be safe.
Thank you, Chief. Now I'd like to bring up our incident commander, Chief Cavanaugh.
Hey, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. As I've talked the last couple of days at these briefings, it's important to get this information out to you, and I appreciate everybody listening and having questions if you do too. But it's important for us to be able to speak with all the agencies that are involved on this large incident we have. Currently, the LNU complex is sitting at 219,067 acres. We have approximately 7% containment on the incident. As far as personnel, we've doubled our personnel in the last 24 hours, and we are very thankful from that. We're up over 1,000 personnel as of this morning, up from about approximately 587 yesterday. So that is a good thing. The morning operational briefing is getting more and more people in it, and that's a benefit to the operations and the firefight that we have at hand. Unfortunately, yesterday in the county of Napa, we did have 3 civilian fatalities that were discovered, and also we have one down in Solano County. Those are tragic losses that have occurred, and my heartfelt sorrow goes out to the families of those victims from this incident. As we move forward, a little bit of an update. As the Napa and Lake County, and I'll try to do this every day. As you can see on the map, we've reorganized how the map looks. Once again, the fires have come together over here on what we're calling the east branch or the east zone. So in Napa and Lake County, the Hennessy, it's one fire now called the Hennessy fire. And the fires that emerged again were the Gamble, the Green, the Etna, the Markley, the Spanish, the Morgan, and the Round fires. Those all together this morning were sitting around 194,942 acres, and that's where the 7% containment sits. Over in what we're calling the east zone, that is the Walbridge fire and the Myers fire. The Walbridge fire this morning was sitting around 21,000 acres, 21,125, 0% containment. The Myers is around 3,000 acres. As you heard from Chief Waters on their operational update, overnight we had some marine influence, a little bit more humidity recoveries, and allowed for some good work to be done over on all the incidents. Keep talking about evacuations. I stood up here yesterday and talked to the community about how we do evacuations, some of the reasons why. I also said it was very important and it's a priority when we evacuate to get people back into their homes. Well, we're starting that again today already. We do have some evacuation orders that are being lifted. Along with that, this is interesting though, we're also in the process of adding more evacuations, and that's something we normally don't do. We were spread out on such a large geographical area that we have different fire behavior, we have different levels of containment, and so we're working that. But it is a priority. As soon as we're talking about evacuations, we're working up the repopulation plans. It's important. Same as I said yesterday, though, it takes a large cooperative effort to make that happen, not only from the fire side, the fire behavior, the weather, all the resource utilities, everybody to get people back in their homes. But I promise you, it is a top priority for us to do that. With that, please adhere to any additional new evacuation orders that we have. It is imperative that you take to those orders as we keep pushing the message. You don't have to, just because of an order, if you feel like you're in danger, please leave your property and for your life safety as you move forward. It's a large incident. We're starting to get the resources. It's a good thing. It's difficult. It's difficult on the communities. It's difficult on the people that are involved here. It's difficult what's going on throughout the entire Northern California right now. But I appreciate everybody's cooperation. We have to do this. The only way we get through this is the cooperation of everybody involved in those communications. I'm going to keep preaching that, cooperation and communication. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Now I'd like to invite up our operations chief, Chief Waters, as well as our sheriff representative, if he could come up. And we have time for just a few questions, if we have any questions, please. Okay, seeing no questions, we appreciate that. At this time, I'd like to invite up Officer Lopez for a brief message to our Spanish-speaking viewers.
Buenos días, soy su oficial Custodio López con la Patrulla de Caminos de California. Le hemos estado informando todo para atrás en español, pero en esta conferencia de hoy les queremos dejar saber que en colaboración con el departamento, podemos decir, de California Governor's Office of Emergency Services y Univision, van a estar trasladando todo directamente allí para toda mi gente que habla español, que por favor vaya allí y ahí lo va a encontrar todo lo que han dicho todos los diferentes departamentos de policía, de Cal Fire, todas las entidades, ahí va a encontrar toda la información. Si hay otras entidades que no pueden llegar allí, vamos a estar aquí disponible, aquí afuerita, so si tienen preguntas lo podemos hacer en español. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. And it's our honor to have our Governor Newsom here today, but before we turn it over to Governor Newsom, if we could have our local elected officials that wanted to say a couple of things, please come up.
I'm Congressman Mike Thompson, and I represent the area that's been impacted by the fire. I want to thank all of the fire and law enforcement personnel for the great work that they're doing. It's very much appreciated. And I want to thank Governor Newsom for taking time to come out to our area to see firsthand what this means to our community and for all the help that you've provided so far. From Congress, please know that we've already the federal government has already provided the fire mitigation grants to the state and local governments. I have legislation that is ready to be dropped if it is declared a natural disaster to move the share of costs down to the locals from 25 to 10%. And Governor Newsom, I'll be happy to tell you that we have a letter going out today with 30 signatures, bipartisan signatures, supporting your request for individual and public assistance. So the federal government is here to do everything that we possibly can. Again, thank you to everyone for the great job that you're doing. And let me just reiterate what's already been said. Please cooperate with law enforcement, with fire officials. If they tell you to leave, leave. This is a very serious situation. We need everybody working on this together. And it's my pleasure to introduce Senator Bill Dodd.
Thank you very much, Congressman. Not a lot to add. I really want to thank the governor for being here today. OES, California Highway Patrol, our sheriff's departments, all the first responders, CAL FIRE, just look at with so many different fires going on throughout the state of California. We understand what's going on here, but we appreciate the support. And, like the congressman said, we all need to cooperate. We appreciate all the local entities, our county supervisors, and local governments with their help. With that, I'd like to introduce Assemblymember Aguirre Curry.
Good morning. My heart is full by looking at all of you that are here that are protecting my constituents in this district. Every single one of my counties is on fire. I'm really sad about that, but I know that you all are doing a wonderful job. These are tough times, and for the past 5 years, we have experienced this year after year. And I wish there was a real simple way to get around this, but it's not. I want to thank the governor for coming today. Thank you very much for acknowledging all the hard work of all of our first responders that are here today. I want to thank Mark Ghilarducci because it seems like we've become quite good friends after the past few years. All of you that are here, Tom Porter, the rest. But again, listen to what we're saying is that evacuate. Don't stick around. I mean, it breaks my heart that we've lost 4 lives. I almost thought I lost one of my best friends. Couldn't find her for 12 hours, and we found her. She's fine, and luckily her home's fine. But I have a half a dozen really good friends that don't have a home right now. And getting back on their feet are going to be tough. And so we will have to all stay together again, helping people. It takes a long time. So with that, I want to thank all of you that are here today. We have a lot of work to do, but we can do it, right? We've done it before. We're going to do it. And we got to keep positive. So thank you so much. And I'd like to introduce my good friend, Assemblymember Jim Wood.
Thank you very much to everyone who's here. I think everybody's heard the same message. Please heed law enforcement warnings. Just another warning that just an evacuation warning went out, not a warning, but a mandatory evacuation for the communities of Forestville and the Lake Sonoma area. Please heed that. These fires in Sonoma County, I represent the west zone here of the LNU complex. These fires are burning in areas that have not burned in decades. The fuel load is extremely high, the conditions are very dry, and the winds will continue to pick up throughout the day. We've seen this over and over and over again. If you think you're in danger, or even if don't think you're in danger and you see a lot of smoke, you might want to consider moving to a safer place. I want to thank CAL FIRE and everybody who's been working on the lines. Many of these firefighters have been on the lines for 72 hours. And everybody's running on fumes and everybody's a little ragged. And so if there's a shortage of patients out there, please understand that these folks are working, all our first responders are working to the ragged edge of everything they have. And I can't thank them enough. Thank you.
So thank you all for the opportunity to
update you on what's going on statewide. I'm pleased to be joined by the Commissioner of the California Highway Patrol, Commissioner Stanley, General Baldwin of our National Guard. Pleased to be here with the head of our Office of Emergency Services, Mark Gilladucci, and of course, someone very familiar to many of you, particularly all of you assembled here with CAL FIRE, Tom Porter, Chief of CAL FIRE. We've been monitoring fires all up and down the state of California. As many of you know, a week or so ago, the headline fires in the state of California, the Apple Fire around Riverside County, challenges we were facing, the Ranch Fire, the Lake Fire in Los Angeles County. We have substantially made progress on the Apple Fire, 95% contained. As a consequence, we've been able to pull resources from Southern California here to the north. We've made progress on the Lake Fire, about 50% contained as of this morning, 39% contained at the Ranch Fire. So the fire concentration, the challenge that we're facing here in the state is now disproportionately impacting Northern California. And that is because of close to 12,000 lightning strikes that we experienced over a 72-hour period. Just a day ago, I announced that we are struggling to address the needs of suppressing some 376 fires in this state. That number has grown to about 560 fires in the state of California. You had a lot of sleeper fires. This we anticipated as the smoke cleared, as our reconnaissance efforts increased, as we compared and contrast the federal efforts with the local and state efforts. That new number represents 560 active fires that we are addressing, trying to suppress here in California. The larger fires, the LNU fire that we briefed you here this morning, this fire complex, what we refer to as lightning complex, is one of many lightning complex fires that we are addressing here in Northern California. I was down yesterday in Watsonville and Santa Clara, around Monterey County, visiting evacuation sites and centers in and around the fires down there, the CZU complex and the SCU complex. The SCU complex in Santa Clara right now is about 10% contained, while we're dealing with about 219,000 acres here in this complex, the LNU. That complex is about 229,000 acres. The reason I mark these two in points of contrast, 7% contained here, 10% contained down there, is these two fires represent two of the top 20 fires, largest fires the state of California has had to battle in recent memory, arguably in modern recorded history. There's been 20 epic wildfires in the state of California. This complex represents the 10th largest. The complex at SCU represents the 7th largest that the state has ever had to battle. These fires, again, are stretching our resources, stressing our personnel. We have over 12,000 firefighters now actively working to suppress these larger complex fires. The larger cohort of fires represents about 20 to 25 fires. So we talk in terms of the totality, 560 fires. A lot of those are smaller fires, more remote. The larger fires, the larger complexes that we're battling represents roughly 24 fires that have required incident commands like the one we have assembled here today, all up and down primarily the northern part of the state. We're making progress on the Butte Fire complex, lightning complex up north, making some progress on that Jones Fire, which generated a lot of concern, consternation because the evacuations are around Nevada City and Grass Valley. Progress being made there. We were pleased by the extraordinary work the Red Cross and others have done to quite literally overnight get up these evacuation sites. Their protocols, processes, and procedures are second to none in this country. As was stated by a number of people already, these are familiar challenges for all of us here in the state of California. The individuals assembled in this room today are quite familiar with one another on an individual basis and certainly on an institutional basis, because we've been at this in 2014 up in Lake County, 2015, not just in Lake, but throughout Northern California, 2017, 2019, last year, struggling with some of the largest fires we have had to experience. Kincaid, more recent memory, more indelible to folks up here in this region. And so as a consequence of that, we've developed stronger protocols, processes. We've developed stronger collaborative tissue in terms of the work that's being done across the spectrum. The volunteers familiar with other volunteers. And I just want to express deep gratitude, not only, and I will in a moment substantively, to all our frontline firefighters, but to all the volunteers that assembled to help seniors at 1 a.m. Down there in Vacaville that had to evacuate a senior facility and accommodate their needs at 1 in the morning, particularly in this COVID environment where we're cohorting individuals, we're testing individuals, we're making sure people are healthy when they're in the evacuation site. I want to thank all of those extraordinary volunteers down at Santa Clara at the fairgrounds that had to evacuate a site with dozens and dozens of people with intellectual disabilities that needed all the imaginable support that came out in historic numbers to help support those individuals and continue to support livestock, horses and pets of every imaginable size and degree, again, trying to address this unprecedented moment in our state's history. These lightning strikes came exact week that we were experiencing some of the hottest temperatures ever recorded in human history, 130-degree temperatures in southern part of the state of California. Arguably, still an open question, maybe the hottest modern recorded temperature in the history of the world. That's a remarkable statement of fact. Also a statement of fact that the heat dome that we experienced over the course of last week has not only impacted the state of California, it's impacted the entire western United States. As a consequence of that, and it's an important point, as a consequence of that heat dome impacting the western United States, fire conditions have increased in other states. And as a consequence of that, our mutual aid that goes outside of the state of California has also been stretched. But that mutual aid system, nonetheless, has been activated. We now are engaged formally with mutual aid from 10 different states. We've been on the phone with governors all throughout the United States, not just the western states, trying to reach out as far as the East Coast to see if we can get resources here into the state of California, address the stress that we placed on the 12,000 plus firefighters that are on the lines as we speak, trying to suppress these wildfires all up and down the state of California. Let me, because it's important to do, let me thank again Governor Ducey of Arizona for the 10 engines they sent. Let me thank Governor Brown of Oregon for sending 25 engines. Let me thank Governor Inslee of Washington State and just sending down some surveillance equipment, including RC-26 surveillance fixed-wing plane, and providing us some technical assistance in terms of analytics, not just engines. Let me thank Governor Abbott of Texas for his support, and Governor Sisolak as well. Again, those states are also dealing with their own domestic challenges within their states related to the heat wave, and yet they're still offering support. Idaho, Utah, Montana, all providing support. Again, 10 states formally and an EMAC system, and we have requests out across the United States. Progress being made in that space. We've also reached out across the border into Canada for resources and support. And many of you up here recall, I think it was 2017, the support that we were provided and the support we provided in turn of some of the best wildfire firefighters in the world from Australia. We also have requests out for that talent as well. So I just want to express gratitude for that broader mutual aid system, this EMAC system that's in place, the mutual aid that exists and persists at the local level, the regional level, and the state level, to our county sheriffs, that have done an extraordinary job, the California Highway Patrol that's helping with logistics on a regional basis. Let me thank all of our incredible firefighters. I was down there in Santa Clara yesterday meeting with some San Jose firefighters that look completely wiped, saying we need more support. They were simply overwhelmed by what they saw. They said, we're just coming here at a quick stop. They were getting some gas and getting some drinks, and they said, we're just going to a hotel down the block. We're taking a shower, and we're told we have to get right back on the line. And so all of those folks, the 1,059 frontline heroes that are on the line up here in this LNU complex, thank you. Thank you for putting your lives on the line. And also thank you, and it's not lost on any of us, thank you for also doing this and compartmentalizing the lives of your loved ones that are also on the line. This is your community. This is your home. And we know of one firefighter that lost his home. We know of others that have lost their second home in fires over the course of the last number of weeks, yet they're still out on the line trying to protect your home. When we talk about heroes, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the bravery of men and women that are putting themselves not first, putting you first and putting your lives as their priority. And that's the spirit that defines the best of this state and the best of those personnel in uniform that deserve, as always, our gratitude. At this moment, we continue to be vigilant in terms of our efforts, including some of our air support. We've been able to contract through an emergency declaration with private contractors for air support, as well as secure more federal support. I want to thank the Trump administration. I want to thank Bob Fenton in particular, who is here, who is the Western Regional Coordinator for FEMA. There is no greater partner in the Western United States than Bob Fenton, and the incredible work that he's done in partnership with our federal partners at FEMA. We cannot say enough about their support. Bob and his team, with the support of Congressman Thompson and others, have secured us 5 FMAGs. Again, that's the assistant grants related to fires. The President of the United States has to sign off on, and we thank him for that support as well. We've always said this, no politics in this space. We'll defend ourselves, we'll defend our values, and we'll defend the facts. But at the same time, we are very grateful that in this moment of crisis, we also have to defend the American people.
If you're just joining us, you are listening to a press conference in Northern California with the fires that are going on there. Governor Newsom speaking right now. 560 fires across Northern California at this point. The Apple fire now wrapping up. Those people are going up north to help. 12,000 firefighters are on hand to battle these blazes. So far, there have been 4 deaths. 771,000 acres have burned since mid-August, 229,000 just this morning. Mutual aid is coming from 10 states, and this all caused by some 12,000 lightning strikes that have been happening over the last few days. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. And we are still following that breaking news out of Palm Springs. This is a live picture where a suspect is barricaded inside a home. Police are, of course, urging people to avoid the area of the 300 block of Santa Elena. We'll keep you updated. This has been going on for perhaps maybe the last hour and a half or so. So far, the person inside is not addressing the police officers, asking him to come outside. We'll, of course, keep following this. Now let's check in with Jerry and get an update on what promises to be another hot day ahead and probably a weekend ahead.
Yeah, things haven't changed all that much. Temperatures came down, but the humidity is moving up. We're getting some clouds in our Agua Caliente casino cam over the mountains right now. We could see a few storms develop a little later on. Now, as far as temperatures, basically, yesterday we had a temperature reading of 109, just above average a little bit. Also want to let you know that the air quality isn't all that great. We're moderate here in the Coachella Valley, but keep in mind, west of us, it's not that good. Unhealthy, according to the air quality index, and this will be the situation again tomorrow. Okay, mostly clear skies over the valley, clouds developing around the mountains. We did have an explosion of storms in southern Arizona and over the mountains yesterday, and that's exactly what we're expecting later on this afternoon. Nothing on radar yet, but give it a couple hours, we'll begin to see those storms form. High pressure weakening a little bit, so the temperatures are going to be below 110 for many of us in the Coachella Valley today. A few showers west of us, and of course, as I mentioned, in the mountains. That excessive heat warning expired for the Coachella Valley, but it continues for the high desert and parts of the Inland Empire through 10 o'clock tonight. But temps are going to be slightly above average. Lots of 109s today, and then 106s, 107s, 108s tomorrow afternoon for the Coachella Valley. Now, the temperatures may have gone down from the 1-teens a few days ago, but the humidity has gone up. Check out the dew points. 70s today, tomorrow, somewhat Sunday. They go down, but you'll still feel that humidity come Monday and Tuesday of next week. Now, as far as the thunderstorm activity, again, limited for the most part to the mountains. And as we move into the early afternoon hours, we'll begin to see those flare up again today. And I was looking at the steering currents. It looks like late this afternoon, they'll be out of the south, pushing any rain from those mountains to the north. So we could see a few spillover showers on the very west end of the Coachella Valley, more so in the San Gorgonio Pass. Then you get to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, that all comes to an end. As far as the GFS, that concurs. We could get up to 0.4 of an inch in the highest elevations before it's all said and done. We have Genevieve, which is now a tropical storm, should continue to weaken over the cooler waters. It's veering off now a little bit farther away from the shoreline over the next few days as we head into the weekend. This is upper level moisture forecast. This is Genevieve right here, taking you through Saturday and Sunday. Now, between that low pressure center and a high, it'll funnel in some moisture in the mid-levels as we move into the weekend too. That could add to a chance of rain, definitely contributing to the humidity. Here's your Comfort Air 7-day forecast. 109 today, 106 Saturday, Sunday 108. It's going to be humid all the way through the weekend. We may see the humidity drop off a little bit next week, but temperatures remain steady at around 110.
Throughout the pandemic, we've celebrated essential workers. Honda of the Desert partnered with Toyota of the Desert to recognize some of these essential workers over the next few weeks. Here's Thalia Haight.
We're here at Desert Regional Medical Center in Palm Springs, about to surprise Minda Coachella. She has no idea that we're here. Come on, let's go. Minda Coachella? Minda? Good morning, Minda. I'm Thalia Hayden with NBC Palm Springs. You are our essential worker of the week. Oh, no. You were chosen because your patients wrote in to talk about how wonderful you are and everything that you do to make the family and friends feel supported when their loved one, the patient, is going through such a difficult time. That's why you were selected. So we have Toyota and Honda of the Desert here to give you your money.
Thank you. Congratulations, Minda. We've learned about the story the last few days and just the amazing, compassionate care you give to your patients and how you make them feel while they're going through these difficult times. And we were very emotional and taken back reading one of the stories from one of your patients, and just amazing, compassionate work.
Minda has found the time to go into these patients' rooms when they don't have any family here, to hold their hand, to comfort them, to ease their pain.
It is amazing, but you know, you have to work, you have to pray. That's all I can do is pray. You know, give me strength to come in every day to, you know, work with this patient.
And in some consumer news now, Airbnb is banning house parties worldwide. The company will limit occupancy to 16 people. Legal action could be taken against guests and hosts who violate the ban. Airbnb has always prohibited unauthorized parties, and nearly 75% of its listings explicitly ban parties. But after a deadly shooting at a California Airbnb rental that was last Halloween, the company is cracking down on its own policy. Sales of existing homes and the median price paid soared in July. Sales jumped nearly 25% in July. This according to the National Association of Realtors. That's the strongest monthly gain in the history of the survey. Meanwhile, the supply of existing homes for sale plummeted more than 20%. The Macy's Living The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will still happen, but it'll look different from past years. Organizers say they are still working on how to reimagine the parade, but Mayor Bill de Blasio anticipates some virtual components with some small in-person aspects. More details on the changes are expected in early fall. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Personal relationship with the vice president. We've made a strong personal relationship with the president. And I can only say this, and I say this on many, many occasions. There's not one phone call that I have made to the president where he hasn't quickly responded. And almost in every instance, he's responded favorably in terms of addressing the needs, the emergency needs of the state through COVID and over the course of the last at least year and a half that I've been governor as it relates to these wildfires. He may make statements publicly, but the working relationship privately has been a very effective one. The reason I pushed back is I thought it was important because I don't want to have people strewn with some anxiety that somehow the president may pull funding in terms of our suppression support and support of our heroes and frontline employees and 40 million Americans that live in this state. I thought it was important to clarify that. I thought it was necessary under the circumstances, but also thought it was necessary this morning. I hope you noted that we once again are here with an open hand, not a closed fist, and we will complement, as we should, the support we've received on the FMAG requests and the support we continue to receive in terms of the partnerships we have developed with his administration and the U.S. Forest Service on vegetation management and forest management. And I say this, and I mean this sincerely, I'm not convinced that the president was aware of that new memorandum of understanding that his administration signed with the state of California to collectively invest an unprecedented amount of resources to address the concern.
In this morning's Showbiz Report, the one and only Ivan from Disney Plus and Unhinged opening in theaters nationwide. 2 movies to choose from. Which one is worth your time and your money? Here's Manny the Movie Guy.
Hello, movie buffs. 2 big films for you. So let's begin with...
The one and only...
Coming to Disney Plus is this live-action CGI hybrid based on the new Barry Medal-winning children's novel by K.A. Applegate. It is loosely based on the real-life story of Ivan, the lowland gorilla who learned to paint while on public display at a shopping mall in Tacoma, Washington.
You see how important the voices can be.
Providing voice work are Oscar winners including Sam Rockwell as our hero Ivan, Angelina Jolie as Stella the elephant, and Helen Mirren as Snickers the poodle. But my favorite is Danny DeVito as Bob the stray dog.
Is that me?
The humans in the film are portrayed by Bryan Cranston as Mac, the owner of the Big Top Mall where Ivan and friends perform, and the precocious child actress Ariana Greenblatt as Julia, the girl who believes in Ivan.
How about that, huh?
Shades of Dumbo and, yes, Planet of the Apes permeate throughout the film, and parents take note, there's a subplot of death and dying, so be prepared. The one and only Ivan may be slow and laborious for the very young ones, but older kids may find truth and wisdom in Ivan's adventure. And in the end, this existential movie is all about the power of art. Ivan! And for that, the one and only Ivan gets 3 out of 4 Ivan and Friends kisses. And for grown-ups, we have Unhinged. Russell Crowe stars as a mentally unstable stranger terrorizing Rachel and family. Why? Because the poor woman did not apologize during a road rage incident. This simple premise is all you need to know to enjoy the movie. Violence and retribution is at the heart of the film, but this is more than just a road rage movie.
To me, it's a story of two people explosively meeting at the crossroads of their lives.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Director Derek Bort knows how to deliver the thrills, and he's blessed to have good performances, especially from the menacing Crow.
I don't even think you really know what a bad day is.
Unhinged is set to open in theaters nationwide, the first film to do so. Don't worry, the director says it will be safe, but when you go to the theaters,
drive safely.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
You're gonna need it.
And for that, Unhinged gets 3 out of 4 safe drivers kisses. I'm Manny the Movie Guy, and remember, drive safely.
And we continue to follow breaking news out of Palm Springs. This is a live picture right now. A little bit more activity than we've been seeing most of the last hour. This is where a suspect is barricaded inside a home in Palm Springs. Police have been urging that person to come out, and also police are urging people to avoid the 300 block of Santa Elena. Of course, we will keep you updated. We'll have more on this coming up at 5. And earlier we were following a press conference out of Northern California, these wildfires that you know have been engulfing the state. The press conference continues to go on. Earlier, when they were talking about this, they mentioned that there are now 560 active fires in the state. There have been 4 deaths so far. 12,000 firefighters are on scene to battle these. Some of the people from the Apple Fire are now moving to Northern California. Other help is coming from 10 states. Also from the Valley, there's a battalion chief that is also helping out with some equipment that is able to detect repairs that need to be made. So we are helping them from the Valley as they've helped us before. The cause of some of these fires, as the governor mentioned, is that over the last several days, there's been just this rash of more than 12,000 lightning strikes. So most of the fires at this point, they determined that they are caused by lightning. 771,000 acres has been burned so far, this since the mid part of August. And this morning alone, 229,000 more have burned. So we will, of course, keep you up to date on all of this coming up this afternoon at 5 o'clock. Have yourself a good day and a good weekend. And Jerry says it's still going to be hot.